Okay, folks, my name is Barry Reynolds. Ow.
Barry, ow, Reynolds.
Hey, folks, Barry here. Last week I went to Unpub 5 over the weekend. I know the video is a little late coming out. I have some family stuff I had to take care of. But I went for 2 days for a few hours each, like 4, 5, something like that. It was a pretty cool little con there. Unpub's a con for unpublished games where people will play test and give their opinions on the games. And then there were some publishers there. And I met a lot of cool people there. I met Daniel Saus again. You know, we did an interview with him. There was the one tar and her boyfriend Steve. Now Steve had a game that he had there at Unpub. He was trying to play test it out, and pretty cool little game from what it sounded like. Unfortunately I did not get a chance to play any games with these people, but I did want to try it out. It was a 3-player game, and when I ran into him there was just me and him there. So I was going to come back, and I just never got a chance. I also met Stephanie Straw and Daryl from the Maple Syrup. So all these people were there, and there was a raw creative energy going on there. Everybody's either talking about play testing or game design or playing games. You know, and it was a cool vibe going on there. Well, without further ado, let's take a look at the video. Okay, folks, so today we're going to Unpub 5 down in Baltimore. I know Baltimore. Who wants to go to Baltimore? But let's go. All right, folks, I just bribed Nudge. This is what I got to do to get out of the house. Now, let's go to the car. There's my pile of wood. Yes, gotta burn the wood for the winter. Cold. Here's the car. Okay, one thing I love about my car is it always tells you who it is. I don't know why the board did that, but hey, whatever. Alright, so now I'm in the car. I'm going to start driving down to Baltimore. See you in a bit. Alright, folks, gotta have a Wawa. Not really, just new gas. So, now we're off. So I'm here with Daryl Lauder.
Louder, like the verb.
At Unpub. So tell me a little bit about Unpub there, Daryl.
Unpub is an organization, network, and now an event for 5 years that is focused on unpublished games and aspiring game designers. So basically, we bring designers in that are working on projects or games that they've been spending years on trying to get done, and that we bring in the public to do playtesting on those games and give them the feedback that they need to help hone those games to make them a little bit better, give them a step up. And now with with Unpub becoming an annual event like this, publishers are now starting to come in. It's kind of becoming like sort of like a combine where they're even signing games for their next year's releases. And so it's a very unique experience with kind of everyone helping everyone. It's like a nice little daisy chain. So.
Cool. Now, what is your goals for Unpub? I know this is the biggest one yet so far.
Yeah, this is the biggest one at the Baltimore Convention Center, number 5. And the goal is just to kind of help out as many designers as we can, but obviously we got to keep it realistic. We can't, have 1,000, designers here because we're not going to have 6,000 playtesters to show up to play right away. So it's a kind of a controlled, steady growth right now. The first year we were in a church meeting hall. The second year we were in an FOP lodge. The third and fourth year, we were in a high school cafeteria, and now we jumped to the Baltimore Convention Center. And we just had a bunch of meeting rooms, but next year we're going to jump again to, it's still in the Baltimore Convention Center, but a much larger room to kind of contain everyone.
Yeah, I was here yesterday. It was quite crowded.
Yeah, it was a good problem to have.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it is.
yeah.
So if people want to find out about Unpub, where do they go?
Go to unpub.net, the website, and that you can even see all the unpublished games that are currently getting feedback. You can find print and play, so you can print them down. You can download those and play them, and then submit the feedback right online. And also, if you have an iPhone or an iPad, there's the Unpub phone app. So there you go.
See, and that's why they do that.
Well, thanks.
Thank you.
People to go in first place, going in second, kind of think of it as tortoise in the hare. You're fine with being in last place because you actually get boosts whenever that happens. You score points. And ultimately, the goal of the game is to get the most points at the end of the game. Points are noted by these little candies over here on the trophy card. Also, you have a number of cards that may have little candy symbols on them too, and those will score your points towards the end of the game as well. So Sugar, you're all about just letting people go ahead of you. You're fine with that. Spice, no way. You're gunning your engines the entire way, going for gold, even if it leads you straight to a hazardous pit.
I'm okay with that.
You're just kind of reckless, but you're gonna be in first place all the way. So, and over here we have Fish and Chips. Fish is all about drawing cards, fishing in their deck, and making sure they have basically the biggest hand size, so that you can play the cards you actually want to play whenever you play them. Chips is the aggro deck. So I hope you don't mind being the mean player, because a lot of people are going to be hating you. You're cool with that. So you're going to be wrecking people's engines, getting in their way, and doing a lot of kind of direct damage to them. The way the game works, we're going to be going in 3 laps, and each lap is going to be 4 turns. And the race course is comprised of, in this case, 2 different race courses. When this game is released, it'll be in 2-player sets. So Sugar versus Spice at the Sunday Speedway, and Fish versus Chips at the Autobahn. And it's a good pun. There are a lot of puns in this. I should have warned you. This is a very pun zone here. Very nice. Yes. So puns all the way. So when you play with 4 players, you combine 2 sets. So what I'm going to do is combine the Sunday Speedway with the Autobahn. So the way you score points in the Sunday Speedway, you are collecting vanilla, chocolate, and strawberry. And I will have to ask you to please ignore the tiny text there, because that's from a previous version. So just remember what I tell you and ignore the text. Each of these flavors is worth 1 point. So if you get a card that has vanilla, chocolate, strawberry, it's just a point. That's great. But if you get a set of a Neapolitan, it's chocolate, strawberry, and vanilla, you'll get an additional 3 points for that set. So in this case, this is 6 points, but this alone would be 2 points. Make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Now in the Autobahn, you're building a sandwich. And you are collecting different types of foods, and each of these is not worth anything. But whenever you get bread, it makes it a sandwich. So
Egg, onion, and mayo.
all right, some people dig it.
I would eat it.
So bread, it's going to take each unique type of food you have in your score pile that's not bread, and it will make it worth 1 point.
Okay.
So in this case, this includes all these other things. So it's a weird sandwich. But this would be 1, 2, because you only have 1 type there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And so that would be 6 points for that sandwich. Now that does stack if you get a slice of bread. That would make it worth 12.
Okay.
So bread is really, really valuable. A third bread won't give you anything else because you already have a sandwich. Stop being greedy. So bread makes things worth a lot more. In addition, there will be trophies that are awarded after each lap. In the first lap, the trophy is worth 3 points, and in the second lap, it's going to be worth 5. In the final lap, it's going to be worth 7. The last thing you got to watch out for on the course are hazards. It wouldn't be Mario Kart, like a kart racing game, if it wasn't for hazards. So you got to watch out for these. Now, on their own, hazards aren't that bad. all they do is just get in the way because you could have scored something that actually gets you points. But whoever has the fewest hazards at the very end of the game is going to get 5 bonus points. So you do want to avoid them because then you can get a bonus for having the fewest. Okay, so just to give you what the course is going to look like. Now the last group, I had the course all set up so that they can read on this side. I'm going to be kind and let the other side read upside down for a little bit here. So the idea of this game is that though it's racing, it's most fun when you're in the pack together and jockeying for position. So the idea is that you are moving as a pack from one section to the next section to the next section, and you're like maneuvering within that pack to get optimal position to avoid hazards and win prizes. Now I will need help because I can't reach that far. If you can place these 4 cards as the third section, and if you can orient those trophies the same ways to make a new section.
Next to each other?
Yep, next to each other. Perfect. So these are the 4 sections of the course. Turn 1, turn 2, turn 3, and turn 4 at the very end. On your cards, you have, just to give you an overview of the anatomy of your card, the number on the top right is your speed, and it's noted by a little steering wheel, and you'll see that steering wheel icon in a couple of different places. You also have a maneuver, which is going to be important for speed bonuses when you're claiming prizes. You also have, on some cards, an exclamation point next to a card effect. Exclamation points are going to be special effects that happen immediately, and they go in order of ascending speed. So lowest goes first, and then going on to the highest. And then highest modified speed, because some of these effects will actually modify your speed. The highest modified speed will claim the first card and put it into their score pile. The second place will get the second card and put it into their score pile. Third will get this and put it into their score pile. And fourth will get this and put it into their score pile. So the placement that you have isn't a drafting order. It's just you get the first one, or the second one, or the third one, or the fourth one, depending on your placement. So you have a lot of other stuff there. You have your engine, you have a rep. I find it easiest to talk about that when it actually comes into play. So just to get started, grab a card from your hand and put it face down in front of you, and make a car sound to pressure anybody else who hasn't decided yet. Room. All right, and now everybody reveal. Okay. So now we go in ascending order. So we're looking for the exclamation mark. So let's start from the bottom. Nothing there. Nothing there. And we have an exclamation mark here. So this says that each player draws a card. So everybody may draw a card. And this has an additional bonus effect that if he had any swerves in his engine, he doesn't. But for each one, he could keep drawing more cards. His whole deck is about having the biggest hand size. He wants to get his entire deck into his hand as fast as possible. Next we have this, which says all opponents may rev one engine in their card once, one card in their engine once. That's not going to be an effect right now because no one has any cards in their engine, so we can skip that step. Now we look at modified speeds. So these are the base speeds that you've all got. So you've got a 4, 9, 12, and 3. Now you compare the maneuver that you did. So in this case, you both jumped, and you dashed. You look for matching maneuvers on the course in that particular section, and you add for each match 1. So in this case, this is going to be a 14. This is going to be a 5, and this is going to be a 6. So matching maneuvers that are on the section of the course can help you get in first place. Or in case you don't want to be in first place, you can avoid them. So so first place here, easily with a 14, would be you, and you add that to your score pile in that section of your board. Second place would be you, and you add that to your score pile, and it's over here. And third place would be you, that goes to your score pile. Oh wait,
I had 5, I think.
oh, you had 5.
I had 6 though.
6, okay. You're good. All right, now, here's where the engines come into play. You take the card you played that turn and you install it in your engine. And that means you take it and you put it below your player board.
Face up.
And you keep it, keep it below your player board and keep it upright because the orientation matters. So now, some of you have cards in your engine now, and you have various effects that give you bonuses based on whatever maneuvers or other cards you put into your engine at that time. In some cases, you even have cards that have rev abilities. So say, for example, this card. You rev this card when you play a Swerve. So in this case, whenever he plays a Swerve, he can rev this card, which means that he takes it from neutral position and he revs it to first gear. From then on, he has +1 speed to any of his dash cards. In second gear, he gets +2 speed to any of his dash cards. And then in third gear, it's worth 2 points.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow.
But here's the thing: any card that's worth points has to be junked and put into your score pile.
Okay.
So the way it works, as you start getting new cards into your engine, at that time you can choose to junk an old card in your engine and put it into your junk pile. And if that card is worth points, instead of going into your junk pile, it goes into your score pile. And you just keep it in the same position that it was when you put it in there. Now, your engine has room for 4 cards. So you can keep on adding cards to your engine willy-nilly as you like. Or you can start removing cards from your engine early. But when you reach 4 cards in your engine, you have to start junking. So you have to start getting rid of things.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
All right. So, looking at this, any modifier? Okay, so we got one instant effect here. Choose an opponent, and they must junk a card from their engine. So, well, you choose the opponent, and they choose the card that they can.
Oh, I can choose it. Thank God. I'm gonna junk this one.
All right, so put that into your junk pile. Next up, we got this 10. It says that this card is +1 for each dash in your engine. May or not have wanted to get rid of that one. But either way,
but I mean,
yeah, you was alright.
I mean, I'll be able to rev this to get a +1 anyway. So I think
You're fine.
I think it's either way.
But when that happens immediately, as soon as you played that Swerve, that would rev. Right?
Oh, that would rev right. Okay.
Yep. So yes, so you're doing okay.
Okay.
So for each dash in your engine, that's going to be 1. So that's going to be an 11.
Plus the speed.
Plus your speed, so that's going to be 14.
Plus the dash with 15.
Oh, it is 15.
Yes,
oh, good.
Yeah.
All right, and yes, that does take effect immediately. And then the top speed, I believe, is going to be 10. Aside from that, and so I believe you two will get the trophies. So you take the trophies into your score piles.
I'll get you.
So when you can junk a card whenever you take a new card into your engine, and you don't have to wait for your engine to be full to start junking cards. You can junk a card whenever you get a new card to replace it. Okay.
Your car sounds broken. All right.
And go.
All right.
So we got 3 no immediate effect on that one. We got this one. It says this card is +1 for each card in your hand.
Oh wow.
So that's gonna be 12. This one says this card is +1 for each jump in your engine. 1. Okay, so that's gonna be a 10. And this one is no immediate effect. All right, so modified speeds here. So we've got
I'm beating you in that.
Yeah.
so
Dang it.
13. This one is any bonuses or anything on this? Is it 10?
I think it's just a 10.
12. Okay, so
You got +1.
That happened before.
Yeah,
right.
so.
And then you would be in third place. You would be in last place. Okay, so first place, the craziness. Second place,
No.
third place goes to you, and last place.
Oh, that was like a difference of 200.
Yeah. Least hazards gets 5 points.
That's you.
Okay, so it's... No, okay.
All right. So what's your score?
I have 29.
29.
9.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
I have 19.
19.
I have 14.
14. Big winner. The
Nice.
aggro dad wins this one. All right. So that was a la carte. I appreciate your time. Thank you for playing Wagon and Pose just a little bit longer. I would love to hear your feedback in the feedback form. Just unpublished I can take care of all this. You don't have to research.
Okay.
I'd much rather you spend your mental energy like giving feedback than figuring all this stuff out.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
So Amino is a lightweight card game. It has 42 cards in the deck. The different types of cards are atmospheric molecules. So they range in value from -2 up to +4. The more a card is worth, the more useful it is in creating amino acids, hence the name of the game. We also have sunlight cards, which double the value of your atmosphere because electrical charge is really important for that. And sunlight cards, which act as a wild card because ultraviolet radiation can mess with the planet's chemistry in the atmosphere, but for better or worse. So the way the game works is all of your cards are played face down. So you'll have an atmosphere in front of you that can hold up to 4 cards, face down cards. As we play the game, cards will move around, just like the molecules are bouncing around the atmosphere. And eventually at the end of the round, we'll see what we have left. So everyone starts with 4 cards in hand. Sean will go first. So the player reference card on the front gives you what you do during your turn. So the first thing you do is look at any 2 cards. So there are no cards for you to look at yet, so you have to skip that step, but now you play a card into your own atmosphere, face down. Excellent. The third thing you can do is to swap any 2 played cards, or play a second card into your atmosphere or someone else's. So you want good cards in your own atmosphere and bad cards in other people's atmospheres. Uh-oh. And then you draw a card at the end of your turn. Alright, so the 2 cards that I'm going to look at are these. Easy choice there. Then I will play into my atmosphere, play into Sean's atmosphere, and draw a card.
Okay. This is what I got. It's a little awkward. Alright, I'm gonna look at my own. And then I think I'll look at this one. And then, let's see here. This one. And then, no, I'll swap used.
Alright. Keep things interesting.
And then
You draw a
draw.
card. Yep.
Okay. Wow.
So we play this round until everyone has 4 cards in front of them, and then the round will end. Sean's atmosphere is now full, so he can no longer play into it, neither can we, but we can still swap in and out of it. Alright. That. I will play this card, and then I will swap these 2.
Alright. Look at this one. And this one. I think I remember what I had. Probably not. And I'll play this one.
So you play into your own first.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No problem.
I'll play that one.
Perfect. And then mine.
And then I'll draw back up.
Excellent.
Okay.
Alright, Sean, you can look at 2. You don't want to look at that one.
Yeah. Let's see. I just played this.
Yep.
So let's see this. Okay. So I can't play into a play.
Right, so skip that step. But now you can swap or play into someone else's.
I think I will swap this one out. And this one.
Yeah. Alright.
I want to see how good you think your atmosphere is. No, it's not that good actually. And I will end the round. Alright.
Okay.
So all the cards in hand go into the middle. and we see what we ended up with. Oh, that was glorious.
Oh. That's not good.
Alright. So you ended up even this round.
Right.
And right now Sean is also at 0 points, but he has the Sunlight card. So the Sunlight card, as I mentioned, is a wild card. You discard it and have a choice of 3 cards to choose from.
Oh, okay. I think I will pick this one.
Right. And as I forgot to mention so far, you get a set bonus if you get all 4 elements that are in the game. So there's carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and nitrogen. So Sean. With that card, Sean was able to get the missing oxygen and carbon. So he'll add up the face value, so that's a total of 3 points. Then multiply it, because he has a lightning, that's times 2, so 6 points. And then a bonus 6 for that Chon set. I also have Chon, C-H-O-N. This is 6 times 2 is 12, plus the 6 is 18. So, and then you came out just evenly, but a full game of Amino is 1 round per player, so 1 bad round does not get you out of the game. So, thanks for watching.
Thanks for showing us. Now, you said this is going on Kickstarter, or it's up on Kickstarter.
This is up on Kickstarter. This is our beautiful logo, and the link to the Kickstarter is here, tiny.cc/fun-amino.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, so what do we got here?
Okay, so this is a restaurant range. So the idea of this game is it's a city that doesn't have any restaurants in it, and so you're trying to move in and exploit a new market. So the purpose of the game is that you're using these food cards to complete these orders, which make different amount of money based on what kind of restaurant you complete them at. There are also event cards, which can change things that happen in the game, such as a healthy eating fad, which means that people who want to eat more salad, and so therefore those menus make more food. Those kind of orders make more food. And there are also equipment and personnel, because you can't make a good restaurant without the best equipment and personnel.
Right.
And then you have the rare seafood that you have to pay a lot of money to get. And then you have to watch out for the health inspector and the food critic, which roam around the board and will either make your restaurant more popular by giving you good reviews and good health ratings, or they might make your restaurant worse because of bad health score or a bad review.
Okay. All right, now what's the object?
The object of the game is to have the most money and assets by the end of the game.
Okay.
You total up all the money that you've gained in all your restaurants, and that's how you move the most money and assets to the winners.
Okay. And it's what, you said 3 to 4?
Yes, 3 to 4 players.
About 10 minutes?
It takes about an hour to an hour and a half, depending on...
I'm sorry, I was looking at the age. Yeah. All right. Okay, well, thank you. And that was Restaurant Reach.
Yeah, hi, I'm Rob Couch. I am here with Unpub 5 with my game Saloon Tycoon. I'm co-host of a podcast called Building the Game. This is a game that I pitched originally on the show, and now we've got it here, and we're doing all the playtesting we can. The game is pretty simple. Basically, on your turn, what you're going to do is you're going to earn some gold for every tile you have. The point is to build a saloon. Build a big structure on the table to try and outdo your opponents. Build the biggest, craziest kind of Walmart of the Old West to attract all the good guys in town and avoid all the bad guys. So on your turn, you're going to earn gold for every tile that you have in your saloon. This is an example of what it's going to look like at the end of the game. You earn gold for every tile in your saloon. Then you can spend that gold to buy supply cubes, which are what these are. You can buy more tiles to add on to your saloon, or you can play cards, take additional actions, and try and chain stuff together. In order to, when you fully supply a tile, when it means you fill all these little slots on the tile, you get a one-time bonus that'll either get you more cards, more gold, or it may even get you one of these good guy cards. And these good guys give you bonuses at the end of the game for scoring. It's a lot of fun. It plays, for 2 players, plays in about 25 20-25 minutes. For 3 or 4, it's closer to about a 45-minute game. First-time players are looking at running for about an hour right now.
Okay.
But it's been great. I've gotten tons of great feedback here at Unpub. It's been a wonderful day.
Now, what are you looking to get out of Unpub?
Well, obviously, you can see, look at the board here, and I've got a lot of handwritten stuff scribbled all over it. So as far as testing goes, I really want to get the economy of the game balanced and nailed down so that the strategies, there's no surefire way to win the game, you know. But apart from that, I'd love to meet a publisher. You know, Unpub, you know, we're all unpublished, so that's kind of what we're hoping for, trying to get our game out there, share it with people. Because if you're into game design, you know, you want to get your game played. That's really your number one goal. Yep.
Okay, and this is this podcast?
Yep, Building a Game podcast. You're Building a Game, a documentary podcast. Finding us on buildinggamepodcast.com.
And that was Saloon Tycoon. Buy a seller.
Okay, very good. I'm going to earn my 1, and I'm actually going to buy a laundry. That right there. So now you're going to earn 2. Sorry about that.
So, I think I'll play the supply wagon here.
Okay.
Which will give me 4 gold plus 1 action to buy supply games.
Nice. There's your 4.
Oh, 1 action. So, 1 supply is 2 gold.
Yep.
I'll just buy 1 for now.
Just
and
one?
I gotta place them
You gotta
automatically.
place it immediately, right?
Okay. So, I guess I'll start working on my saloon there.
Alright. I'm going to earn 2, and yeah, I'm also going to draw 2. Again, final scoring. Supply cubes are worth 1. Small tiles are worth 2. Large tiles are worth 3. You get an extra 4 points for every stack that hits the top floor. Okay, and it doesn't have to be fully supplied. Okay? So you're still going to get that for that. Plus you get points for going outward, and then your character bonuses. Right?
Okay.
Okay. And if you went outward far enough, before you tear it all apart and start counting, just make a note of how far out you went. Because some people have forgotten to do that and lost count of their bonuses, right?
Okay.
So that is all there is to that. I always need a calculator to figure it out for myself, just to keep track of it. Because I'm terrible at math.
Let's see. Dark Sanders will give me 5.
Small tiles are 2, big tiles are
3.
3. And supply cubes are
Supply cubes are 1. Yep.
12, 15. Now do you get 3 for this, or is just that top bottom?
You get 4 for the stack.
The whole stack.
Right.
Alright. 12, 16, 18, 20. 15, 35.
I think the designer won myself.
I had 63.
Right.
So the reason I won, again, because I had 2 stacks that were 3 high, so that helped me a lot. I had Cactus Colby. He's only worth a ton of points if he's all alone, but he helped me toward Pretty Nelly, and Pretty Nelly is with 3 or more people. She's worth 8 points instead of just 5, so that also helped me a lot. Plus, I got one of the expansion bonuses.
Okay.
And just by default, I also had more tiles than guys. So that's what we're looking at. What do you like? What do you hate? What do you think? What worked for you and what didn't?
It was just a little hard getting started.
Okay.
There was a lot to take in.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit.
And it just seemed, I mean, as many games I've played, it just seems like there's a lot to try to go for. And it's kind of hard to figure out what points wise are.
Okay.
So what it's explaining is, this is called Raid on Gingerbread Lane. We are bakers. We live in gingerbread houses. We have different zones of our town here, and we are such awesome bakers that every day monsters come out of the forest to try to eat our cupcakes. They really want to get to our houses, but we can fend them off by filling them up with enough cupcakes. So that's the wave count. And they come out in 5 waves. After that, there aren't any more monsters. We have to make sure that we take care of the ones that are already out. These are the monsters. This is the tiny monster. Takes 1 cupcake to feed him generally. The typical monster takes 2 cupcakes, and the tremendous monster takes 3 cupcakes to be fed. These are what we're feeding them with. These are cupcake cards. You can ignore the card facings on these. What's really important is the number up in the right-hand corner. And that tells you how many levels of monster you can feed. So with this card by itself, you could feed this. That's a 1-level monster. But all of the cards that say 1 also have a special ability. So you can use either the number there or the special ability. There are cards that range up to 6, but most of them are 1, 2, or 3-level cards. So each of us would start with one of these cards, and every round we move to a zone of town, because we can only feed monsters in that zone. We can move 1 zone a turn. So we move where we are, then we draw the number of cards that's appropriate for that. So if we're in the forest, we get to draw 1 card and play 1 card. If we're in the gardens, we get to draw 2 and play 2. If we're on Gingerbread Lane, we get to draw 3 and play 3. The other cool thing about being on Gingerbread Lane, especially if there's a big threat, is that you can play 3 cards if a house has been eaten already. There's now a vacant lot there. You can play 3 cards to rebuild the house. But again, only from there, and that costs 3 cards to do as well. What I'm doing today is that based on feedback yesterday, people said there wasn't enough risk. Now there can be enough risk. I have had people lose this. It depends on which monsters come out. If you get all of the tremendous monsters coming out at once, that's a little bit harder to take care of. But people said yesterday, we want more risk. So that's what I'm trying today, is I'm adding more risk in. So we're actually giving some of the monsters abilities. So you're not going to use all of these dice necessarily, but what's going to happen is anytime one of these comes up, we're going to roll 2 dice, and we're going to go by this chart then. So that one's going to get abilities 4 and 8. So 4, it's going to be a gut buster. That means if he gets down here, he's going to eat 2 houses instead of just the 1. And the 8, he's a twin. So anytime that's an immediate action. So as soon as he gets spawned, we have another one of the same kind for us. We go through the deck, find another one that's exactly like the one we have there. So there are 2 immediate actions. Everything else, we'll put the dice on them with that number on it. So 4 is a gut buster, it'll stay with that particular monster. So we know if he gets down there, he's going to eat 2 houses. So we know what our risk level is, what we're really trying to get rid of. Anything that you have questions about so far? All right. I'm going to ask you to help me remember, because in the past the way we've played it is every time they advance to a new section, they would get hungry and get one of these star tokens on it. We're not doing that right now because we're using this instead. Some of these abilities will give them some tokens on them. So what I'm going to ask you to do is pick a person who's going to be the first player. I guess I'll go first. Which one of you? Which one of you is take it? All right, and then pick a token for yourself. This is the baker that you are.
Blue. Okay.
Do you shuffle monsters, please. And since you only have one hand available, I will shuffle the cupcake cards.
Yeah, I should have brought the tripod. My cat knocked it over and broke the head on it yesterday.
Alright, so when the monsters come out, usually I place them right about where that is. Is there something we can do with spacing? That's good. Fantastic. Alright, so you both have your characters. You want to play just a two-person? You want me to play? I can sit out and just guide you through it. You can play.
It's up to you.
You could actually play one, but it plays 2 to 6, so I can let just two of you play.
Okay.
So it is a cooperative game in that you're both working together to keep the monsters from eating your houses. There are 2 players, there are 2 houses. But it's a competitive game, and then at the end of the game, whoever is fed the most monsters wins. And the way you're going to count monsters is by the number of cards you have in your hand, or that you've fed. Every time you feed a monster, you take it and you keep that. That counts toward a point at the end. And if they get hungrier and acquire any of these for hungry tokens, those stars also count as points. And that's pretty much all there is. Ready to get started? Yep. All right. So we'll start with everybody getting a card to start with. I'll handle this, I guess. And we'll put this here so people can see it. I just wrote this up today, so I'm still trying to remember the iconography, what's going on with it. So this is the first round. Everybody will place themselves in the garden because everybody starts in the garden. Okay, so because there are 2 people playing, 4 monsters will come out. So could you take 4 monsters and place them upside up over here? Alright, so the other thing you have to do now is for each tiny monster, you're going to roll 2 dice. So see what comes up for those.
3 and a 1.
Alright, so what are those?
Quick hunger.
So quick hunger means that every time he moves, he gets a hunger token on him. So let's go ahead and put the 3 on him so we know that. So when he moves, if you don't have to take care of him. And the 1
Is breeder.
Okay, so every time he moves, another monster comes out with who gets an ability. So another monster will come out and we'll put an ability on him. Alright. Do you want to play or just watch? You started?
I'm watching right now.
We're being... Alright, so that's that monster. The big monsters, the tremendous monsters don't get anything on them. So now that the monsters have come out, you get to decide where you want to move. Every turn, you can move one section. So you can stay where you are, or you can move to the forest, or you can move here. It's really a strategic decision on your part. You can talk about it, you can talk about what cards you have. After you do that move, then you will get the cards based on whatever zone you're in.
So the number in the corners, how many you can feed?
How many levels of monsters? So this is a 3-level monster right now. That's a 1-level monster. If they get hunger tokens on them, then the level goes up based on that and the number of tokens.
So you would. So if you have a card that says 3, you could just get one of these. Okay.
And if there were 3 little ones out there, you could feed 3 little ones and take those one away.
So I can move up to the forest to prevent 2 of them from coming down.
Okay. I have 1. So can you combine them or?
Nope.
Okay. Each is
Combine
individual.
cards in your own hand, but you can't combine them between players.
Okay. All right.
Because what you're getting for that kill, or the feeding of the monster, is actually you're getting that monster to count as your points. You can't split the monster into points for 2 people.
All right. All right.
So I can move up to the forest. You can stay there and get some cards in case for the next 2 to come down.
All right. Sounds good.
Alright.
Okay.
So I'll move to the forest.
To do that, you are in the forest zone, so you get 1 card. And you are in the garden, so you get 2 cards. So you look at your cards and you can decide what you want to do now.
So I'm going to feed big one and little one.
Alright, and then this gets discarded. So this gets over here.
Okay. I could play a card
You can play a card if you want to.
at any
sure.
time.
You can only feed if you're in that zone, but if your 1-level card has an ability, you can use that ability if it happens.
So I'll draw 4 cupcake cards and give one of them to another player.
Alright. 4 war cards. Nice use of your time.
Alright. So let's see. So they're all ones. Alright.
No, but that means they all have abilities of some sort.
I'll give
Maybe
this one
more
to
or less
you.
useful.
Now, is there a hand limit or not?
No, there is no hand limit.
Okay. Alright.
I mean, just the practical hand limit if we run out of cards and no hand limit.
Okay. Alright.
All right, there was a token on the wave marker.
There.
There it is. So that's the end of wave 1. So move it to 2. What happens now is that these 2 move up to here. And new monsters come out. So another 4 monsters. Wow. Lots of really huge monsters. Alright, so you have one green one come out, so you roll 1 die. Oh, another 3. So every time he moves, he's going to get a hunger token. So you got him, and you're good. Alright, so where do you want to move? You want to stay where you are and want to move someplace?
I can handle one of those guys.
Okay.
Or I can fall back and let him come down.
I can combine cards too.
Yeah.
I can handle one of these.
The only thing I can handle is this guy.
Okay.
And that just leaves me with one card.
You want me to either move up there and take care of one of them?
Well, if these guys, we don't have to take care of these guys, they're going to get back.
Yeah. Well, one of them's going to go down anyway. Alright.
So, if you can, I'll fall back.
Alright.
That way, we can possibly take care of both of them.
Lots of really big
Okay.
monsters came out suddenly. Lots of really big monsters.
Alright, so I
You're
good?
both going to be there?
Yeah.
Alright, so you get cards for that level, so you each get 2 cards.
Oh, okay.
And we get to play 2 cards, right?
You get to play 2 cards from that zone, yeah.
Oh, it's only 2. Yeah, I can't do it.
Cards.
So 6. Alright, so I'll play that. I should take care of these 2, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And you get 2 actions, so if you have another card that you want to play, there's something else you can do.
Okay.
So that's 1 action, and you get these 2, and you're to count toward points at the end of the game.
Okay. So I got a bunch of cards, so I'll give him 1. That's the action of the card.
Okay, so you played your 2 actions?
Right. Or did I misread it? Do I have to discard that and give him another card?
This wave 2 is actually when the first player started.
Play this one, you face 1 fewer monster next round.
Okay, so then what you can do is you would normally have 4 monsters, so you can just draw 3 cards and leave them face down there so we know that's something you're coming in the next round. Cut the future thread a little bit. Alright, so that's the end of. Alright, so you both get 2 cards.
Okay. So he's a level 1. Alright. So I'll just play that.
Alright.
Okay.
And all of the monsters are gone, so you've ended the game successfully. So now count up all of the monster cards and all of the stars you have, and that will tell you who actually won the game.
Just the card or the
Cards
value?
And the, cards and the stars.
I mean, for the cards, the value of the monster or just the card?
Card.
Okay. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
10.
Mary, you have won the game. Congratulations.
Okay. So, that was Raid of the Gingerbread Flame.